really clear on the medical freedom side failure when it decided to go ahead and fall for the use of the term vaccine. And if we go to that next page of that image, it's important to realize that in their own filings, this is not Dave Martin's opinion, in their own filings, they state currently mRNA is considered a gene therapy product by the FDA. Now, why is this important? It's important because the vaccine promoting cabal, which is almost all of the committee that RFK has sat in front of for the last couple of days, that vaccine promotion cabal, which put Anthony Fauci into position in 1984 so that by 1986 they could get their way on making sure that they got immunity anytime the word vaccine was mentioned, that cabal knows that in the fall of 2019, they sent gene sequences from the Wuhan bioweapon to Moderna. And they know that they put that formula into injections. And far worse than the $53 million that Elon tweeted about last night. Over $500 million, and you got that number correct, over $500 million combined from DARPA and from NIH and NIAID went into programs led and architected by the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill's Ralph Barrett. And remember, we've talked about this many times. The reason why we will not allow senators to actually speak the truth about the origins of what they call COVID is because they know, and the American people need to know, that while $53 million went to Wuhan, which is in fact correct from Elon's tweet, over 10 times that amount was spent to create the biological weapon in the United States, architected by the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and Ralph Barrett. He is the one who in 2005 said that this was a biological weapon. He is the one that said it was a biowarfare enabling technology. He is the one that sent the material transfer agreement in the fall of 2019 based on the Wuhan Institute of Virology Virus 1 model to the manufacturers of the injection. This lab leak conversation, and even Elon is missing this point. This is not a China lab leak story. This is a biological weapons program in the United States funded by taxpayer money, 10 times more than what was funded in China. And while I celebrate the evisceration of the criminal corrupt organization in USAID, I want us to be really clear on the fact that until Elon, until President Trump, and until all of the people who are actually still covering up the universities in the United States, until that story is finally told to the American people, we collectively must deal with the fact that the biological weapons program that was started in 2002, when Ralph Barrett first patented the infectious replication defective gain-of-function clone funded by NIAID, funded by Anthony Fauci, until that particular story is told, none of the truth is coming out. And if Elon has access to the treasury numbers that he says he has, we know that they can hit print on that print queue. And the minute the American public realize that it is our public universities, the same ones that are corrupting the minds of our children, the same ones that are corrupting the social fabric of our society, the same place, by the way, that the helicopter pilot that was allegedly behind the Black Hawk helicopter, she's a UNC Chapel Hill biology grad. Let's get really clear. Her dad is the director of an informatics company that was about COVID electronic health records. That same UNC Chapel Hill has to be front and center in the line of fire if we're going to ever have accountability. October of 2014, Rand Paul still does not bring this up, but in October of 2014, the NIAID sent Ralph Barrett a letter. I've sent that to you guys before, but they received a letter in which they were authorized to continue to actually do gain-of-function research in the United States. The outsourcing to China was a cover-up The actual weapon production was in North Carolina. And the evidence of this, and your team can pull this up while I'm talking, but in the 2016 Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences publication, Ralph Barrick admits to making the Wuhan Institute of Virology virus 1. And all you have to do is go onto a search engine right now and type in WIV1 poised for human emergence. Alex, that article, published in 2016, was actually done during the gain of function moratorium in North Carolina. And it specifically makes reference at the end of the article. At the very end, it references Zhengli Shi, the engineer of the bioweapon in Wuhan, where it acknowledges her contribution to the United States' own activity in creating this biological weapon. We have to understand, we are in, as you know, an information and propaganda war, which is part of all of the nonsense we've had to deal with. And the fact of the matter is, even Elon's announcement of the Wuhan $53 million is part of still the smokescreen, because the fire is in our country. The fire is on our college campuses. And when we have a United States of America university at UNC Chapel Hill thanking the biological weapons architect from China, thank you, Dr. Zhengli Shi of the Wuhan Institute of Virology, for access to the COV sequences for WIV1 spike proteins. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is a $500 million that taxpayers had spent so that we would create a lethal weapon to inject into the bodies of Americans and to inject in the bodies of people around the world.
And sir, you've hammered this for 5 years and been totally, Dr. Martin, you've been proven totally right. I'm glad you're going back over this and saying it's breaking now in public consciousness that it was man-made and all the rest of it, but you're saying it needs to be understood. It's on record. It came from here. So I'm asking the bigger question, because I was covering this back in 2015 when it was a big scandal. They were creating weaponized stuff there at Chapel Hill, and so were you. My question is, it's hiding in plain view. What is the real end game, and how is it going for them, and then what do we do?
Well, as I said on many occasions, there are 63 gain-of-function weapons beyond the coronavirus weapons. There are 4 that are coronavirus specific, but there are 63 other biological weapons currently in production in United States universities right now. And if President Trump were to take an executive action to save humanity, what he would do is he would actually place a moratorium on every single one of these gain-of-function programs and shut down all 67 active programs right now, if he was going to do the right thing. Because what's the end game? The end game has always been, and Bill Gates said this very clearly in 2011, the World Health Organization has stipulated this from 2011, and they recited again in 2018 and 2019. Their end game is the decrease of the population of humanity on this planet. And that's a polite way of saying that these are sociopathic murderers who are actually building weapons to conveniently turn what we call healthcare into the front line of the biggest mercenary deployment of mass murdering psychopaths we've ever seen on this planet. And we as a society need to understand that it's not coming from a foreign adversary. It's coming from domestic adversaries who are intent on destroying the orderly structure of the United States.